With a proposed $8.2 billion budget and over 15,000 employees to provide for, the Environmental Protection Agency, also known as the EPA, has come a long way since President Richard Nixon signed an executive order to begin their unconstitutional work in December of 1970. The purpose of the EPA, as stated on their website, is to protect human health and the environment. However, in what has now become a disaster 3 times as large as the original report, the EPA is responsible for spilling several million gallons of toxic waste, replete with toxins like arsenic and mercury, at astounding levels into a tributary of the Animas River in Colorado. This spill has exposed residents in 3 states to what CNN reported, an array of health problems from cancer to kidney disease to developmental problems in children. In order to be proactive about the forthcoming lawsuits, the EPA is now trying to entice members of the Navajo Nation to, quote, waive their rights of any future compensation for damages incurred by the toxic spill. A spill that some have suggested was intentional to secure mega funding for a new treatment plant. So what happens to this unelected agency when it threatens and harms human health and the environment? Well, if we follow the modern-day political ideology, we'll give it more funding and expand its jurisdiction so it can enforce the president's new clean power regulations. Yet Thomas Jefferson warned us in Questions of Power then, let no more be heard of confidence in man, but bind him down from mischief by the chains of the Constitution. We would do well to remember the mischief of the EPA in Wyoming, when welder Andy Johnson was accused of violating the Clean Water Act by building a pond in his own backyard. The EPA's threats in that case included a $75,000 a day fine. Or do you recall when the EPA tried to subject the Sackett family of Idaho to a similar $75,000 a day fine over claims that the construction of their new home was interfering with the wetlands? I don't want to be overly critical, but even if the EPA did help protect human health and the environment, it would still not make it right. Look under the chains of Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution and see if you can discover some authority for Congress to enact laws regarding the environment, which includes the water within the boundaries of these United States. You won't discover such an authority because it is not there. So what is known as the Environmental Protection Agency has no constitutional underpinning, no support, and has therefore no legal standing. There is therefore no reason for any state or any county to comply with any standards or requirements published by the EPA or any other federal agency or department. Way back in 1776, the founders of America knew this truth and spoke this truth. They called these kind of actions on the part of parliaments pretended legislation. Pretended legislation. Please remember, the acts of Congress and unelected agencies are not necessarily binding on the states. Let me say that again. Acts of Congress and unelected agencies are not always binding on the states. When are they binding, you might ask? Well, simply stated, they are only binding if they are lawful. That is, when they do not conflict with the Constitution or with the laws of nature and nature's God. When they are not lawful, they are pretended legislation. And the states are supposed to declare them as null and void and of no effect in the state. This is the doctrine of nullification, and it is as American as baseball, hot dogs, and apple pie. This is Jake MacAulay with the Institute on the Constitution, bringing you the American View.